Here's a question just in how deep a mess is the ANC, the ruling party, at the moment? If we look at what has been playing out in the last few weeks and the last week in particular, the NEC, and at this point in time, with the factions that exist within the ANC, this is a party that is split right down the middle. And just this morning, as I was driving to the studio, one of the politicians on another media platform was even talking about the ANC government resigning and having an interim government until they sort out the mess within the ruling party. Now, this morning we are joined by Ayanda Zulu, and he is the provincial secretary of NEHAWU in KwaZulu Natal. And they are hosting a 3 day conference or a 3 day congress, which will commence today. But we know that the alliance that the ANC has had in the past, together with the likes of trade unions, who had obviously campaigned, who had supported the party in the past in terms of its election campaign. But we see that there are certain unions that are now starting to think differently. Ayanda, good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Greetings to you and the listeners.
Right, let's talk about this Congress, the National Education, Health and Allied Workers Union, NEHAWU, starting today. And obviously, there are certain plans, there are certain strategies in place in terms of the government. And we know as unions, you have got your needs as well. And in your engagement, obviously, with the government. Let's talk just a bit about the Congress. What is going to be the overall theme of this Congress, which is starting today?
Thank you very much once again. As from today at 2 o'clock, we will be starting our 11th Provincial Congress, which is convened under the theme Strengthen the Workplace Organization, Deepen Class Consciousness, as well as Advance Internationalism. Our Congress will be taking place while we are still having the global pandemic coronavirus. That is why we want to dedicate our entire Congress to the frontline workers and also pay tribute to the fallen heroes and heroines that have passed on during this COVID-19 in the fight against COVID-19. So the amongst other issues that will be at the top of the discussion will be the impact of COVID-19 on the international front, the impact of COVID-19 on the economy, on health, as well as in education. And also part of the key discussion, you remember that NEHAWU through COSATU is part of the alliance with the ANC and the South African Communist Party. We want to discuss what will be our posture in the local government elections, noting the fact that the government for the first time has failed to implement the salary increases, which is normally termed as Resolution 1 of 2018, which we do think that we are regressing because the right of collective bargaining is one of those rights that we fought very hard for. That is why we do think that we must discuss our posture in the local government elections. Our recent Central Executive Committee resolved that we must, while we continue to support the ANC, but in these local government elections, we're not going to utilize our resources. It's either physical resources, human resources, and financial resources in the campaign of the ANC, because the money that we're supposed to utilize is the money that the government of the ANC is not giving to workers. We're going to discuss also the crisis of neoliberalism and its imposed austerity measures centered around the national treasury, the high vacancy rate in the public service, the outsourcing of key services, which have got a major impact in the public service transformation. So those are part of the issues. Also, we are expected to elect the new provincial office bearers that will lead the union for the next 4 years.
And we know that the unions in the past have had quite a close relationship and a strategic relationship with the ruling party. And you also mentioned the SA Communist Party. But it does appear as if a lot has changed over the years. And looking at this relationship between the ruling party and the unions, what has changed over the years?
We remember that since we since from 1996, ourselves through COSATU, we have been raising our concerns on the neoliberal policies. At that particular time, we sharply raised issues around the that it was pro-capital, it was anti-workers and anti-working class. We also raised our concerns on the NDP. And now you can see that the neoliberal policies that have been implemented for years, which are having a more bigger concentration on the finance economy, which is not creating any jobs, which is deepening poverty, inequality, as well as the unemployment. For the first time, if you use a broader definition of the unemployment, it's sitting at around 42.5, and we are extremely concerned as the union. And the key economic sectors of our economy have not been nationalized. It's either it's your banks, it's either it's mine, it's in other key strategic sectors of the economy. The expropriation of land without compensation, all those policies which we locate under the thing. Remember, the ANC came in Mangaung with what they called the second phase of the more radical transition. Others call it the radical socio-economic transformation. So that is our concern as the national union, that it seems as if the policy that the ANC is driving are pro the capitalist class and not benefiting the majority, which is the working class.
Now, obviously, the next 3 days are going to be quite interesting as far as the Congress is concerned, and more importantly, in terms of the outcomes, in terms of what decisions are taken, what resolutions will be taken at the Congress. And I'm sure high up on the agenda will be what we see, what we're seeing within the ANC at this point in time, because, we've heard now of factions making it difficult, going to the streets, protests, and the like as well. And I'm sure that is going to feature quite strongly as well.
Yes, definitely. But I've taken quite a principled decision as the National Union to say, in the midst of the factions, in the ANC, who are not part of any faction, more especially there are two dominant factions in the ANC, on what we term as a neoliberal faction, and the other one is what used to be called the criminal networks that wanted to advance the corporate capture of the state. So we're not part of any faction, but we must also raise that part of the key discussion here will be to discuss the indecisiveness of the South African Communist Party to contest the elections, because we won't be finding ourselves in this quagmire if the South African Communist Party has taken a decision to contest for the election. That is why also COSATU is finding itself in a very difficult position, noting the crisis that our movement is facing.
Well, Ayanda, thank you very much for that and for your time with us this morning. We wish you all the best during this Congress, and please take care.
Thank you very much.
Ayanda Zulu, the KZN Provincial Secretary for the union, the National Education, Health and Allied Workers Union. And very interesting when he talks about the two factions and describing the two factions. One, the criminal state capture faction, and on the other side, you've got the neoliberal capitalists. And what do you think of that? The time is just gone, 8:32 a.m. We come back, we'll be joined by Dr. Saeed Al-Namruti out of Gaza University, looking at the Palestinian Election Board that has now approved a candidate list for the May elections.
Penny Appeal's Education First campaign helps children to get access to quality education.
I'm 14 years old. When I grow up, I'd like to be a scientist.
We believe every child belongs at school,
And we want education, a better education.
learning and dreaming their way to a better future. With your help, we can provide classrooms, desks, stationery packs, and